Hello, folks. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Um, Here in Midland, Texas, it is hot, hot, hot. Supposed to be 108 or more today. So I'm back in the studio doing a podcast. And I was just going through the Apocrypha. It's called the Goodspeed Apocrypha. And these are the books that were originally in the original 1611 King James Bible. But then when they did the translation, the next translation, these books got omitted. They didn't get canonized. And this one that I'm going to read today is really similar to the book of Daniel, so that's probably why they left it out. But it's called The Story of Baal and the Dragon. Not Baal, Baal. This is Bel, Bel. But it's the same thing. Now, here we go. I put my reader down there. When King Astyages, Astyages, I don't know. Why can't they have names like Bob and Jim? Anyway, when the king was gathered to his fathers, Cyrus and Cyrus the Persian succeeded to his kingdom, and Daniel was a companion of the king and was distinguished above all his other friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, and every day they bestowed on him 12 bushels of fine flour, 40 sheep, and 50 gallons of wine. And the king revered it and went every day to worship it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, Why do you not worship Bel? And he said, Because I do not revere artificial idols, but the living God who created heaven and earth and is sovereign over all mankind. And the king said unto him, Do you not think the Bel is a living God? Do you not see how much he eats and drinks every day? And Daniel laughed and said, Do not be deceived, O king, for it is only clay inside and bronze outside, and never ate or drank anything. Then the king was angry and called on Bel's priests and said to them, If you cannot tell me who it is that eats up these provisions, you shall die. But if you can show me that Bel eats them, Daniel shall die, because he has uttered blasphemy against Bel. And Daniel said to the king, It shall be as you say. Now the priests of Bel were 70 in number, beside their wives and children. So the king went with Daniel to the temple of Bel, and the priest of Bel said, See, we will go outside, and you, O king, must put the food on the table, and mix the wine and put it on, and shut the door, and seal it with your signet. And when you come back in the morning, if you do not find that it is all eaten up by Bel, we will die. Well, Daniel, who is making these false charges against us. For they scorned him because they had made a secret entrance under the table, and through it they used to go in regularly and devour the offerings. So it happened that when they had gone, the king put the food of Bel on the table. Then Daniel ordered his servants to bring ashes, and they scattered them over the whole temple in the presence of the king alone. Then they went out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet and went away. And the priests came in the night, as usual, with their wives and children, and ate and drank it all up. And the king rose early the next morning, and Daniel came with him. And the king said, Are the seals unbroken, Daniel? And he said, They are unbroken, O king. And as soon as he opened the doors, the king looked at the table and shouted loudly, You are great, O Bel, and there is no deception at all about you. But Daniel laughed and held the king back from going in, and said to him, "Look at the floor and observe whose footprints these are." And the king said, "I see footprints of men, women, and children." Then the king was enraged, and he seized the priests and their wives and children, and they showed him the secret doors by which they had got in and devoured what was on the table. So the king killed them, and he turned Bel over to Daniel, and he destroyed it and its temple. Now there was a great serpent in that place, and the Babylonians worshipped it. And the king said to Daniel, "You cannot deny that is a living God, so worship it." And Daniel said, "I will worship the Lord my God, for he is a living God. But with your permission, O king, I will kill the serpent without sword or stick." And the king said, "You have my permission." And Daniel took pitch, fat, and hair, and boiled them together, and made lumps of them. And he put them into the serpent's mouth, and it ate them and burst open. And he said, "See the objects of your worship." When the Babylonians heard it, they were very indignant, and made a conspiracy against the king, saying, "The king has become a Jew. He has overturned Bel, and killed the serpent, and slaughtered the priest." So they went to the king and said, "Give Daniel up to us, or else we will kill you and your household." And the king saw that they were pressing him hard, and he was forced to give Daniel up to them. And they threw him into the lion's den, and he remained there 6 days. There were 7 lions in the den, and they had been given 2 human bodies and 2 sheep every day. But now these were not given them, so that they might devour Daniel. Now the prophet Habakkuk was in Judea, and he had cooked a stew and crumbled bread into a bowl, and was going into a field to carry it to the reapers, when the angel of the Lord said to Habakkuk, "Carry the dinner that you have to Babylon to Daniel in the lion's den." And Habakkuk said, "Sir, I have never seen Babylon. I do not know the den." Then the angel of the Lord took hold of the crown of his head, and lifted him up by his hair, and with the speed of the wind set him down in Babylon, right over the den. And Habakkuk shouted, "Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God has sent here." And Daniel said, "You have remembered me, O God, and have not forsaken those who love you." Then Daniel arose and ate. And the angel of God immediately put Habakkuk back in his own place again. On the 7th day, the king came to mourn for Daniel, and he came to the den and looked in, excuse me, and there sat Daniel. Then the king shouted loudly, "You are great, Lord God of Daniel, and there is no other beside you." And he lifted him out, and the men who had tried to bring about his destruction, he threw into the den, and they were instantly devoured before his eyes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Bel and the dragon. I hope I didn't bore you to death. I'm sorry. Until I come up with a better topic next week. Thanks for watching. Share this with your family and friends. Press that thumbs up button to like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next week.